The first time Park Joon-ho made Seo Yoona cry, she was 15 years old. He did it with 3 words. "Nobody wants you." He said it in front of the entire school cafeteria. Loud enough for everyone to hear. Loud enough for her lunch tray to slip from her fingers and crash to the floor. Loud enough that even the teachers pretended not to notice, because Park Joon-ho's father owned half of Seoul and nobody wanted trouble. Yoona picked up her tray with shaking hands. She did not cry in front of him. She waited until she reached the bathroom. Then she sat on the cold tile floor and cried until her throat hurt. That was 15 years ago. Now, Seo Yoona was 30 years old, and she was running late for work. She tied her black hair into a messy bun, grabbed her convenience store uniform from the chair, and rushed out of her tiny apartment in Incheon. The apartment was the size of most people's bathrooms, but it was hers. She paid for it herself. Every single one. She worked double shifts at the GS25 convenience store on Wolmi Island. She came home. She slept. She woke up. She did it again. Simple. Quiet. Safe. That was all Yoona wanted from life now. Safe. Because the last time her life was not safe, she had lost everything. Her father's small restaurant. Her mother's jewelry. Their family home in Mapo district. All of it gone, swallowed by a lawsuit filed by the most powerful man in Seoul 15 years ago. Park Dae-ho. Joon-ho's father. Their families had been neighbors once. Her father and Park Dae-ho had been business partners. Until Park Dae-ho decided he wanted the restaurant land for a new development project. When Yoona's father refused to sell, Park Dae-ho buried him in false lawsuits, froze their bank accounts, and within 1 year, destroyed everything they had built. Her father never recovered. He died 3 years later, sitting in a rented room, staring at the wall. Her mother cleaned other people's houses until her back gave out. And Yoona? Yoona disappeared. She changed her name twice. She moved cities 4 times. She cut her hair short. She wore glasses she didn't need. She became a ghost, and she was good at it. Nobody from her old life could find her. Nobody had tried. Until today. Yoona was scanning a customer's ramen when the door opened. The convenience store bell chimed. She didn't look up immediately. She was calculating change. But she felt it. The same way you feel thunder before you hear it. A coldness. A pressure. Like the air in the room suddenly changed. She looked up. A tall man in a black coat was standing at the door, looking directly at her. He was handsome in the way that dangerous things are beautiful. Sharp jaw. Dark eyes. A small scar running through his left eyebrow, old and faded. She didn't recognize him at first. He had changed. His teenage arrogance had hardened into something worse. Something quieter. Something that didn't need to shout because the whole world already knew to move out of his way. But his eyes were the same. Cold. Focused. Like a man who had already decided something and was just waiting for the paperwork. Those eyes landed on her, and they didn't move. "Next customer please," she started. "Seo Yoona," he said. Not a question. Her stomach dropped to the floor. She had not heard that name in 8 years. She had become Han Ji-yeon. Quiet, invisible, unremarkable Han Ji-yeon who worked double shifts and went home to watch old dramas and eat ramen alone. But he had said Seo Yoona like he had been practicing it. Like he had been saving it. "I think you have the wrong person," she said. Her voice was steady. She was proud of that. His lips moved. Not quite a smile. "You have a scar," he said, "behind your left ear. The shape of a crescent moon. You got it when you fell off your bicycle at age 9. Your father carried you to the hospital on his back because he couldn't afford a taxi. The room spun. Nobody knew that story. Nobody alive. I've been looking for you," Park Joon-ho said, "for 3 years. The customer between them grabbed his change and ran. Smart man. Yuna did not scream. She did not run. She did the only logical thing. She pressed the emergency button under the counter that called the Walmy Island police station directly. Then she looked Park Joon-ho in the eyes and said, "Get out of my store." He didn't move. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said. "Men like you never think they're hurting anyone," she replied. Something flashed across his face. It was fast, gone in a second. But she caught it. Pain. Then the police arrived, and Park Joon-ho left without being asked twice. He walked to the black car waiting outside. A man built like a refrigerator held the door open for him. Before he got in, he turned and looked back at the store window. At her. And Yuna understood, with cold certainty in her chest, that the police arriving had not scared him. He had simply decided to leave. There is a difference. That night, she packed her bag. She had done this before. She knew how. Passport. Cash from under the mattress. One change of clothes. Phone charger. She was at the door when her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. "Don't run," said the voice on the other end. "Park Joon-ho. How did you get this number?" "Yuna." His voice was different now. Lower. Almost human. "I know what my father did to your family. I know what I did to you at school. I know all of it." She gripped the bag strap tighter. "Good for you," she said. "Now leave me alone." "I can't. That is not my problem." "Your mother," he said. "She's in Daejeon General Hospital. Room 304. She had a fall 2 weeks ago. She's been alone." Yuna's hand went cold. She hadn't spoken to her mother in 2 years. Not because she didn't love her. Because her mother's phone was traceable. Because staying away was how she kept her mother safe. "How do you know that?" she whispered. "Because I've had people watching over her," Joon-ho said. Quietly. For 2 years. Making sure her medical bills were covered. Making sure she wasn't alone. The bag fell from Yuna's shoulder. "Why?" she asked. The word came out broken. Silence on the other end. Then, because I owed her that much. Everyone in Seoul's underground knew one rule. If Park Joon-ho wants something, it disappears or it appears. There is no middle ground. He had taken over his father's business empire at age 24, after Park Dae-ho died of a stroke during a board meeting. But Joon-ho had not kept the business the same. He had dismantled the legitimate companies and built something darker underneath. Import? Export? Things that didn't go through customs. Favors exchanged between powerful men. Debts collected with interest that wasn't measured in money. He ran 4 districts in Seoul and answered to nobody. His enemies called him grim behind his back because when Park Joon-ho came to collect, something always died. A business. A reputation. Sometimes more. But his people, the ones who worked for him directly, called him something different. They called him fair. He never hurt civilians. He never touched women or children. He never broke a deal he made. In a world full of liars, Park Joon-ho's word was the only currency that never lost value. This confused people. How could a man be a monster and have principles? His second-in-command, Bae Kang-min, had asked him once. Because monsters without rules, Joon-ho had replied, are just animals. I am not an animal. Kang-min found Joon-ho at his penthouse office at 2 a.m., standing at the floor-to-ceiling window, staring at the Han River. She didn't run, Kang-min reported. I know. But she's not happy either. I know. Kang-min hesitated. He had worked for Joon-ho for 7 years. He had seen him make decisions that moved millions of won and changed the fates of entire families without blinking. He had never seen him look like this. Like a man holding a wound closed with his bare hands. Boss, Kang-min said carefully. Why her? After all this time? Junho was quiet for a long moment. When I was 16, he finally said, my father showed me what he had done to her family. The documents. The false lawsuits. Everything. He was proud of it. He put his hand on my shoulder and said, this is how power works, son. You find the weak ones and you use them to send messages to the strong ones. Kangmin said nothing. And I said nothing, Junho continued. I already knew what he had done. I had been watching it happen. And I said nothing. I did nothing. I just kept bullying his daughter at school because that's what we did in my family. We destroyed people and called it business. The Han River sparkled below. I became my father, Junho said. And then I spent 15 years trying to become something else. Something better. But you cannot be better if you never fix what you broke. Kangmin understood now. This was not obsession. This was debt. At least, that was what Junho was telling himself. Whether it was the truth was a different question entirely. Yuna arrived at Daejeon General Hospital at 6 a.m. Room 304. Her mother was smaller than she remembered. Older. Her hair had gone completely white. Her hands, resting on the hospital blanket, were rough and cracked from years of cleaning work. But she was breathing. And when she opened her eyes and saw Yuna standing in the doorway, she smiled so wide that Yuna forgot to stay strong. She crossed the room and held her mother and cried into her shoulder like she was 15 again, sitting on that bathroom floor. My baby, her mother whispered. My baby, you came. I'm sorry, Yuna said. I'm sorry I stayed away. You were keeping us safe, her mother said. I knew that. They stayed like that for a long time. When Yuna finally pulled back and wiped her eyes, she noticed the room. It was clean. Better than a standard hospital room. Fresh flowers on the table. A small television. Better food than the normal hospital tray. Who paid for this room, she asked quietly. Her mother looked toward the window. A young man came, she said. Very tall. Serious face. He said he was an old family friend. He settled the bill and arranged for the better room. Yuna's jaw tightened. Did he give a name? Her mother looked at her with careful eyes. Park Junho, she said. Yuna, is everything okay? Yuna looked at the flowers on the table. Yellow chrysanthemums. Her mother's favorite. He had known that too. Everything is fine, she said softly. Everything is fine. He was waiting outside the hospital. Of course he was. Leaning against the black car like a man with nowhere better to be, which Yuna knew was a lie because Park Junho probably had 17 meetings and 3 criminal empires waiting for him. She stopped in front of him. You paid for her room, she said. Yes. Why? I already told you. Tell me again. He looked at her directly. Because my family destroyed yours. Because your father is dead and your mother is sick and I had the ability to do something and I chose not to for too many years. Yuna studied his face. In another life, she might have been afraid of him. She was still a little afraid. She was honest enough to admit that. But underneath the fear was something else. Anger. Old, patient anger. The kind that doesn't burn hot anymore, it just glows, steady and permanent, like coals that never go out. What do you want from me? She asked. I want to talk. We're talking. Not here. Come to dinner tonight. She almost laughed. You want me to have dinner with you? Yes. Park Junho, she said carefully, the last time your family sat down to a meal with my family, your father had already filed 3 false lawsuits against us. You will understand if dinner sounds like a trap. Something moved in his jaw. Like he was biting down on something he wanted to say. It is not a trap, he said. And I am supposed to trust that? No, he said. You're supposed to have dinner with me anyway. And I'm going to tell you something nobody else knows. He opened the car door. And after that, he said, if you want me to disappear forever, I will disappear. You will never hear from me again. No contact. No people watching. Nothing. You have my word. Una stood very still. She had survived 15 years by being smart. By not taking risks. By running before things got bad. But her mother was in that hospital room, and the man who had paid for it was standing in front of her looking like a person carrying something very heavy for a very long time. She got in the car. The restaurant was private. A small, quiet place in Gangnam that wasn't listed anywhere online. The kind of place where the staff disappeared after serving the food and didn't reappear until called. They sat across from each other. Junho poured her tea first before pouring his own. Una noticed that. She didn't know why it bothered her. Talk, she said. He set down the teapot. My father did not die of a stroke. She blinked. He was poisoned, Junho said. Slowly. Over 3 months. By who? Junho looked at her. Me. The restaurant was very quiet. Una set down her cup. You killed your own father, she said. Yes. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to know that the man who destroyed your family did not simply die in comfort, Junho said. Because I was 16 when it started and 23 when I finally finished understanding what kind of man he was. And because you asked me what I want from you, and if we are going to talk honestly, then you need to know who you are talking to. Una's hands were flat on the table. Steady. She was forcing them to be steady. You're telling me this so I know you're dangerous, she said. I'm telling you this so you know I'm honest, he replied. She looked at him for a long time. What do you actually want, she asked again. Not the apology. Not the guilt. What do you want? Junho was quiet. For the first time all evening, he looked like he didn't have an answer prepared. I don't know, he said finally. I just know that I found you, and for the first time in 3 years, something feels less wrong. The honesty of it knocked the breath out of her. She hated that. I don't forgive you, she said clearly. I don't forgive your father. I don't forgive any of it. I'm not asking for forgiveness. Good. She picked up her chopsticks. Then I'll eat your expensive food and you'll listen to me tell you exactly what your family took from us. Every detail. And you will not look away. His jaw tightened. Okay, he said. Every detail, she repeated. Every detail, he agreed. She started talking. He never looked away. 3 days later, someone tried to kill her. She was walking home from the hospital when the black van pulled up. 2 men got out fast. Una only had time to think run before her body was already moving, but the alley was narrow and her legs were not fast enough and a hand caught her arm. Then a figure came out of nowhere. Tall. Fast. Terrifyingly precise. It was Kang Min. He broke the first man's wrist so quickly and quietly it seemed almost polite. The second man took one look at Kang Min's face and got back in the van. The van drove away. It took 11 seconds. Una stood there breathing hard. Kang Min straightened his jacket. Are you injured? Who were they? She demanded. We don't know yet. He was already on his phone, texting. How did you know I was here? He looked at her steadily. The boss asked me to keep watch. Of course he did. 40 minutes later, she was in Junho's penthouse, furious. You put people on me without telling me, she said. Yes, he said. No apology. That is not your right. You are correct, he said. And if Kang Min had not been there tonight, you would currently be in the back of that van. That silenced her. Junho ran a hand through his hair. It was the first uncontrolled movement she had seen from him. Someone knows I've been looking for you, he said. Someone who doesn't want you near me. Who? I have 3 guesses. He sat down, suddenly looking tired. My father had partners. Men who benefited from his methods. Men who are now very comfortable and do not want someone digging through the past. Yuna sat down slowly. This is your mess, she said. Yes. And now it's on me. Yes. He met her eyes. And I'm sorry. I did not predict this. And I will fix it. How? The same way I fix everything, he said. I find out who it is. And I make it very clear that touching you again would be the worst decision of their life. He said it the way other people say past the salt. Completely calm. Completely certain. And that terrified her more than the men in the van. Because she almost believed him. She stayed in the penthouse that night. Not because she wanted to. Because Kangmin had quietly pointed out that her Incheon apartment address had been found in the van driver's phone, which meant going back there was not safe yet. Junho gave her his guest room. He did not hover. He did not make it strange. He left her a clean towel, a phone charger, and a bowl of doenjang jigigi outside the door. She ate it alone in the room. It was very good. She was angry that it was very good. At 2 a.m., she couldn't sleep. She walked to the kitchen for water and found Junho at the counter, staring at documents spread across the marble surface. He looked up. You cook? She asked, because she didn't know what else to say. My mother taught me, he said. Before she left. Yuna paused. Left? She left my father when I was 10, he said. She said she couldn't keep watching what he was doing. She chose her conscience. He looked back at the documents. I understand now why she did it. I didn't then. Yuna leaned against the door frame. Where is she now? Jeju Island. Small house. She grows vegetables. A small pause. She's happy. Do you talk to her? Every Sunday. Something about that image, the most feared man in Seoul calling his mother on Jeju every Sunday, broke the shape of him slightly. Made him look almost ordinary. She decided that was very inconvenient. Find out who sent those men, she said. Fast. I already know, he said, turning a document around to face her. It was a photograph. A man she didn't recognize. 60s. Expensive suit. Dead eyes. His name is Choi Mansu, Junho said. He was my father's oldest partner. He had a deal with your father's land 15 years ago. He's been profiting from it since. Yuna stared at the photo. He was involved, she said quietly. He was the one who gave my father the idea, Junho said. The false lawsuits. He had a lawyer who specialized in exactly that kind of destruction. The coals in her chest glowed hotter. What are you going to do? She asked. Junho looked up at her. What we are going to do, he corrected, is take everything from him the same way he helped take everything from you. Legally. Publicly. So he cannot hide it or erase it. Legally? She raised an eyebrow. I said I fixed things, Junho said. I didn't say I only used one method. He held up the document. He has been laundering money through 3 companies. The evidence is right here. The right prosecutor in Seoul owes me a significant favor. Yuna stared at him. You've been building this, she realized. Before you even found me. You were already building this case. He didn't deny it. How long? She asked. 2 years, he said. The room was very quiet. Park Junho, she said slowly. What exactly is this? What is happening here? He met her eyes and for once said nothing at all. Which was somehow the loudest answer he had given her. The case broke 3 weeks later. Choi Mansu was arrested on a Tuesday morning, walking out of his club in Gangnam. The footage was everywhere by noon. 3 companies frozen. 15 years of documents suddenly very public. Including documents that connected him directly to the destruction of Seo Yuna's family. Including the false lawsuits. including everything. Yuna watched the news on her phone sitting in the hospital next to her mother's bed. Her mother watched too. When the reporter said Choi Mansu's name and showed his face in handcuffs, her mother reached over and held Yuna's hand. They didn't say anything. They didn't need to. Junho texted her one message that afternoon. "It is done." She stared at it for a long time. Then she typed back, "Come to the hospital." He arrived in 20 minutes. He sat in the plastic chair across from her mother's bed, and her mother looked at him with sharp, bright eyes the way only Korean mothers can look at a man who has caused their daughter complicated feelings. "You are the Park boy," her mother said. "Yes." "Your father was a bad man." "Yes." "Are you a bad man?" Junho was quiet. Then he said, "I have done bad things. I am trying to do fewer of them." Her mother studied him. "Honest," she said finally. She looked at Yuna. "He's honest." I'm old, not blind," her mother said firmly. She pointed a thin finger at Junho. "You hurt my daughter once. In school. She cried for a week but never told me why until years later." Junho's jaw tightened. "I know. Will you hurt her again?" A long pause. "I will try very hard not to," he said. "But I am not going to pretend I am a good person. I am just a person who is trying to pay back what he owes." Her mother nodded slowly. "At least you know the difference," she said. Her father, God rest him, always knew the difference too. That is how good people get destroyed by bad ones. Because they believed everyone else knew the difference too. The room went quiet. Yuna felt that sentence land somewhere deep in her chest. Outside the hospital, in the parking lot, they stood beside his car. The evening air was cold. Incheon smelled like sea salt and fried food from a pojangmaka nearby. "I meant what I said," Junho told her. "That night at dinner. If you want me gone, I'm gone. The case is closed. Choi Mansu is arrested. Your mother is taken care of. You don't owe me anything." Yuna looked at the ground. Then she looked up. "I haven't forgiven you," she said. "I know. And I don't know if I ever will. I know that too. And you are genuinely one of the most dangerous and complicated people I have ever met. Yes. And I am probably going to regret whatever I say next." Something shifted in his face. Barely. Like light changing. "But," he said. "But," she said, "my father always told me that the measure of a person is not who they were. It's what they choose to do when they finally know better." Junho went very still. "You knew better at 23, she said. "Maybe earlier. And you did something about it, even when nobody was watching. Even when I didn't know. Even when you got nothing from it." She exhaled slowly. "I'm not saying yes to anything," she said firmly. "I'm saying I will stop running. For now. And we will see what kind of man you actually choose to be." Junho looked at her for a long moment. Then he nodded. Once. Slowly. "That's enough," he said. "For now, that's enough." And so two broken people, carrying 15 years of history between them like stones, chose to stop running in opposite directions. Not because the past was fixed. It wasn't. Not because the pain was gone. It wasn't gone either. But because Yuna's father had been right. People are not defined by who they were in their worst moments. They are defined by what they do in every moment after. The question was never whether Park Junho was a monster. The question was whether a monster could choose, every single day, to become something else. And whether that choice, made honestly, repeated quietly, without expectation of reward. Whether that was enough. For now, Yuna decided it was worth watching. For now, that was everything. Please like, share, comment and subscribe for more.